Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again. I want to make a quick video for today just to update you on my few starter builds about how they're going and the one I specifically picked. But the main purpose of the video is to explain what the Incursion event is, what the Temple of Atzoatl is, and the interaction about it, because it is a bit confusing to begin with, but overall it really isn't that complicated. It's just feels like it's dressed in a whole bunch of complicated bullshit when at its core it's actually quite simple. So I want to go through exactly what the Temple of Atzoatl entails, what the Incursion League is, and what you're supposed to do with it. Overall, it is a pretty fun league, and it definitely is one of the better ones quite recently. There's lots of monsters, lots of extra content, lots of extra loot, so it is basically everything we are asking for and everything we are hoping for from a challenge league. It may look a bit complicated, but it really isn't in the end, and it definitely is fun to go through while you're leveling, and then probably going to be pretty good for the end game, for the extra pack sizes of monsters and the extra loot that the temple does drop in the end when you get to the top and fight the end game boss, as well as going through some of the rooms and getting some of the other rewards. These few little clips are of my duelist champion going through with double strike, and he has been farming pretty much everything up until level 75 quite comfortably on a very limited amount of gear. So I want to kind of go over the Incursion League and mechanic as simply as I possibly can, because it was initially kind of confusing to me, but the source of my confusion for the most part was all the added bullshit that is basically just lore lol, and that is, traveling forward, back, temple, non-temple, whatever. Basically, it's pretty simple. Every single zone you go into, right from the start in questing, from mudflats, or the coast or whatever, every single zone you go into, you will find Alva Valai, including every map. So in every map, you will see her. And all she really does is offer you a choice by throwing you into a certain area. And in this case, she's pointing me into a surveyor study. She will be putting me into a surveyor study every time I see her until I actually enter it and then do what she's asking me to do. So she won't change this. She's always going to put me into this one unless I go in and do it. And she's only given me two choices here, and she'll only give you two choices every single time. So she's putting me into this top one here and giving me a choice of killing one of two architects. If I kill this left architect, then this room will turn into a jeweler's workshop and it will have chests full of jewelry. If I kill this architect, I will then upgrade my current surveyor study into a second tier, and then I will still have chests full of maps when I complete my temple. Essentially, you have to come across Alva Valai 11 times, and once you've done 11 of her entering rooms, you then go into the final temple that will be whatever you created it to be, and go through the whole thing from the top to the bottom, kind of like a little bit of a maze. So you do 11 of these instances, then she gives you 6 portals to try and clear the entire thing and get to the top. And your goal throughout doing these 11 to begin with is to upgrade to as many tier 3 map rooms and rooms as you possibly can, because those have the best rewards, and to link up your bridges over here so that you can actually travel from one room to the next in the ultimate temple. So to give an example, what we do, she gives you a choice here. We enter the Incursion and you just jump straight in. And then there are 2 portal guardians that you have to choose between killing, and the one I want to kill is the right one so that I can upgrade my map room. And here it is over here. You kill it, and bam, now it's going to get upgraded. But you still have this bar down here that gives you monsters killed. Sorry, let me move that. Monsters killed, and the more you kill, the more time you have inside of here. And when you kill these monsters, they will sometimes randomly drop a stone passage key. Now what that key does is then open these next red circles and the passageways so that you can actually get from one room to the next. So here's a stone passage, and currently if you press V, you can see my study is attached to nothing. So I want to attach it to the guardhouse down here, meaning I have to go over to this area and pop the guardhouse. Now currently it will then be attached from the surveyor study to the guardhouse, but if I want to get to the apex, next time I come into some sort of room from her, I want to then keep connecting things, and ultimately your goal is to get to the apex and have as many of your rooms connected so you can travel from one to the next and get to the apex. Quite a common problem I've seen from people so far is saying that they get stuck, they can't go any further in their end temple, and the problem there is you did not kill enough monsters, you didn't get enough stone passage keys, and you didn't connect enough rooms. The goal is to go through some of these, get them to higher tiers, get the best possible loot, connect all your passageways. By the time you've done your 11 encounters, you can then enter your ultimate temple and try and get to the top, because the top has the end boss, which has the best loot with the quirkiest corruptions and the newest sort of mods. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's still kind of confusing until you actually give it a shot one time yourself, and it really is kind of worth doing, I think. Overall, the league has been pretty good. It's been very fun for killing lots of monsters and getting lots of loot in return. So it's pretty much everything you'd want out of a league, and if you're wondering if you should jump in, I think you definitely should. And then I would also like to address the starter build video I put up yesterday with the 3 primary starters I shared for you, which is Blade Vortex Elementalist, Arc Hierophant Totems, and Double Strike Champion Duelist. From what I've heard and from what I've seen, all 3 of those are going to be pretty damn good starters, because currently Blade Vortex, I've been told, has insane single target damage, and having only 10 stacks makes the playstyle a lot nicer, so that seems like it's going to be really strong in the end game and the playability of it. Arc is completely insane, and you can do everything with Arc right now. Arc Traps, Arc Totems, Arc Mines, Self-Cast Arc, and this current Hierophant Totem build that I've got has something like 2 to 3 times more single target damage than it used to have. You won't even need Shimmerons to clear everything in the end game at this stage. That one seems to be one of the craziest. And then on top of that, this current character I'm playing, which is the Double Strike Duelist, has some insane damage. It's currently looking like it's going to be better and have more single target damage than my previous version, which was Blade Flurry on the same sort of character. Because primarily that is entirely because of the Double Strike mod that at level 17, you can see here, adds 78 to 117 physical damage against bleeding enemies. My current weapon has roughly that much physical damage anyway, so I'm getting twice as much weapon damage as my shitty weapon right here, and that really is carrying me super hard. All you really need on a weapon is basically attack speed, and then you get some chance to bleed somewhere on the tree. So currently we have it over here, but for a long time I was running chance to bleed gem, and early on it is going to feel pretty crappy because Double Strike needs all of these things to feel good. So I do recommend you go for Cleave, Lacerate, Sunder, whatever it is, until you get to Double Strike paired with Vile Double Strike, and then you can get a 4-link, because the 4-link is very important here with Melee Splash, Ancestral Call, and Chance to Bleed. That's going to be your 4-link early on. You can drop Chance to Bleed eventually once you get another bleed source somewhere else, and I've got it over here, or some Hemophilia Gloves or something, and then you can start running things like Melee Physical Damage or Maim, things like that. Ultimately, you do really need Melee Splash, Ancestral Call, and some bleed source to get a lot of damage happening, and that means that early on it won't be that good. And then on top of that, Vile Double Strike is crazy. The single target that the Vile Double strikes when you have 4 of your clones up off of such low and pathetic gear as a completely starter build, I'm not sure is entirely reasonable or I've ever seen before on any other character or, skill before. It really just doesn't make much sense as to how much damage output I'm getting off of such little effort. All you got to do is save up your Vile Double Strikes for a boss and go in there, pre-pop them if you want, pop them during, doesn't really matter. Those things go absolutely ham. When there's 4 of them going in there, there's nothing that's really going to stand in its way, and I honestly think that by the time I'm at tier 16s, it's going to be destroying content. So I'm really not sure what to expect for the future of this skill. It kind of feels like it's going to get a hot fix, but then again, it sounds like a lot of things are crazy right now, and this is the only experience I've got because it's the first character I'm playing of the league. And I feel I should also mention that the Incinerate and Flame Blast Ignite character has, by all accounts from other people, been working out pretty well for Ignite so far, so that sounds like it's going just fine. And the generic Trapper that I gave you as well as a Saboteur, just about all the traps, Lightning Trap, Explosive Trap, a lot of those traps have been working out really well, and the 8-second cooldown traps are really quite nutty and have a lot of damage. So it sounds like just about everything out there is really good right now. The starter builds I suggested for you guys in the starter build video yesterday seem like they should all be completely steamrolling just about everything, and I don't think there's much you can do wrong at the moment. So Incursion League, pretty damn fun if you want to go out there, smash some stuff and feel rather overpowered. But anyway, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the update, and I will see you next time.